The presence of the members of the list of members who have been elected members of one of the oldest parliaments in the world. To begin with, I would like to say that normality has returned. We are back to normality. Normality has come back to Catalonia thanks to the government, which will guarantee the stability of the region by providing institutional continuity, which has never been interrupted. Secondly, by ensuring the non-violent democratic expression of the expectations and requirements of the voters. And thirdly, through the public policies in favor of the whole of the country. It is the opposite of the illegitimate action of the central government by imposing the tyranny of Article 155. They have sought to divide us. They have sought to exploit certain divisions. They have sought to exploit political differences. They aimed to disrupt our legitimate institutions. So I would like to remind you that the first president of the Generalitat was appointed in the year 1590, and it is one of the oldest parliaments in the world. And they also wanted to disrupt public policies which aim to benefit the whole of the country. Prime Minister Rajoy now has an opportunity to go back on his policies, and he must implement the right solutions from now on. I announce that I am prepared to meet the Prime Minister Rajoy anywhere in Europe, but not in Spain. We must approach this new period, this new political period in Spain and in Europe. And this this stage must aim to achieve political solutions and not by criminal proceedings. And we must avoid ridiculous situations such as those that we have experienced in recent weeks. The central government has implemented a strategy of violence. As a gesture of goodwill, Prime Minister Rajoy should repatriate all the police officers who he has sent to Catalonia since last September. He must also disown the people who have been making decisions on behalf of an occupying force. And he must call for the media and the social players to act in a more peaceful way and in a less vengeful way. And Mr. Rajoy should not make any decision on behalf of this Catalan Parliament and government. I am prepared to meet him without any preconditions. The time has come to really get into politics. Rajoy's solutions have failed, and the more the Catalans feel mobilized, the more they have voted for the democracy. We have even exceeded the figures, the record of the 1st of October and of the elections of the 27th of September. We have more and more votes. So, following the plebiscite, the referendum, Article 155 has now got to be rescinded. As I have already asked Mr. Rajoy, policies must be changed. Policy making calls for dialogue, and whether he likes it or not, he must engage in a dialogue with us. He must recognize reality. This is indispensable to find solutions in favor of the citizens of Catalonia, those who have suffered from the consequences of Article 155 are the 7.5 million Catalans. Foreign investments in Catalonia have stopped, and all of this is detrimental to Catalonia and to the people who wish to live in our country. We have also shown, following all these years, that we are responsible for the decisions we make. Even both the separatists and the non-separatists want to improve the country, and the time has come to rectify the policies, to repair the damage caused, and to recognize the political realities. That is the message I wished to convey on behalf of Together for Catalonia. I am here to answer your questions now. Thank you. Please introduce yourselves before you ask your questions.
No, jo crec que és una proposta de bona voluntat, de bona fe, insisteixo, sense condicions.
Our proposal is based on good faith, without any preconditions, and we want a change in the way politics are conducted between Catalonia and Spain. We want a dialogue. We must recognize each other. I am quite willing to sit at a negotiating table with Mr. Rajoy, and in spite of everything that the central government has tried to do and has actually done against us. So the least we can expect now is the right to be listened to. How do you see the future?
The
future of politics in a democratic state depends on the will of the voters. It would be unacceptable not to take into account what the voters have expressed. I'm willing to meet Mr. Rajoy because we know that in the Spanish government, the central government of Spain has not accepted the results of the election. And we cannot progress if we don't respect the results of the election. It is indispensable in a democracy. Elections with a turnout of over 80% is exceptional. It's a clear signal. So we must now get into politics. I'm very interested in knowing the position of the Spanish government in the face of this result, faced with this result.
A veure, la història diu que aquest gest jo l'he fet altres vegades. Fixi's que el senyor Rajoy,
I have already picked up my telephone when I was invested as president. Mr. Rajoy didn't even call me to congratulate me as a gesture of courtesy. When he was appointed Prime Minister of Spain, I gave him a ring. I called him to congratulate him. And if a new Prime Minister is appointed of Spain, I will give him a call, or her a call, to express my congratulations. I hope that we will be recognized as the government of Catalonia, and a democratically elected parliament has elected us. We have an absolute majority. We are legitimate. And this will be a gesture of goodwill. the Prime Minister should show his goodwill by getting in touch with the leader of the Parliament of Catalonia. Are you prepared to return to Catalonia?
Què m'ho fa pensar? Més de 2.100.000 vots que han votat a favor de la independència de Catalunya. Això no és un
Over
programa.
200,100,000 people voted for the independence of Catalonia. That is the reality. In a democratic state, Spain must accept the results of democratic elections, which were called for by the Spanish government. They actually called these elections in diabolical conditions. We had a lot of repression. I had to hold meetings by satellite, and we were up against a lot of opposition and a lot of restraints on our freedom to campaign. So in spite of this, we have exceeded the record number of votes in favor of independence. So quite sincerely, things must change. Mr. Rajoy, we must find another way of moving forward. I know that you say that you've tried everything, but no, it's not true. You haven't applied your policies, and if we are Democrats, we mustn't lose faith, and we must implement the will of the people. Mr. Rajoy is saying that the elections are not important. For me, they are very important. A lot of decisions have to be made in Catalonia. The turnout also shows the interest of the voters in this election. If the Spanish government doesn't want to invite you back to Spain, what will you do? I simply want everybody to listen to us. I think we deserve to be listened to. The Spanish government must listen to us, and the European Commission, if it wishes, must not continue supporting Rajoy's solutions, which haven't worked. All I ask for is that we should be listened to. We have earned the right to be listened to. It's very important for Europe that the situation in Catalonia should be clarified. We must listen to both parties. And I want the Spanish government to listen to us. What does the Spanish government intend to do? There has been a historic level of turnout. So the separatists have an absolute majority. How is he going to avoid the investiture of the new president? Do you intend to return to Catalonia? If I'm invested as president, if I'm designated as president, this will mean that, and if all the guarantees are given, that democracy will be respected, that the will of the Catalans will be respected, I will return to the Catalan Parliament. And the Prime Minister, the Vice Prime Minister, the ministers must all be freed from prison. We must resume the process which the Spanish government tried to block, tried to stop. Madame Santa Maria has recognized publicly that decapitating the separatist movement was what Mr. Rajoy was trying to achieve.
La Commission continue à penser qu'il s'agit en fait d'une d'une élection régionale minimise complètement la situation. Quel est votre message pour la Commission européenne? Qu'est-ce que vous attendez de la Commission européenne, le Conseil européen, parce que j'ai vu que tous avaient une solution légèrement différente. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez qu'ils devraient faire? Qu'est-ce que vous attendez de...
D'accord. Bon, d'abord, c'est très curieux qu'il s'agissait d'une élection régionale, mais qu'il y a participation enthousiaste.
Regional elections, but the voters have shown great enthusiasm, and Prime Minister Valls of France has also recognized the importance of these elections. The former Socialist Prime Minister of France, he should recognize that the regional elections have been supported by public opinion. So I'm delighted with the support of the people. This is a European issue as well. I'm not asking the European Commission to change its opinion. The European Commission has the right to support Rajoy's solutions, even if it is the wrong solution. All I ask the European Commission to do is to recognize the result of the election. I want the European Commission to listen to us. 7.5 million European citizens have massively expressed their views through an election with a historic turnover rate. So we have deserved the right to be listened to. And I'm not asking for something impossible. So I'm asking the European Commission to recognize the results of the elections. The European Commission has expressed its views on the issue. I recognize the European Commission's right to be heard. And if the European Commission wishes to speak about what's going on in Catalonia again, I will listen to it. But the European Commission must listen to the Spanish government, and modestly, I think it must also listen to Catalonia as well, the new parliamentary majority in Catalonia. To form a government, it will be necessary to negotiate with the CUP. Yesterday there was an important change. For the first time in yesterday's election, compared with previous elections, we will be able to govern peacefully, easily, by forming a bloc with the ERC, Left Republican, and the anti-capitalist CUP. So we can form a bloc, and with the support of the ERC and the CUP, we will be the majority bloc, and this means the end of the unilateralism of the central government of Spain, who tried to use Article 155 to impose the central government's position. This has failed. The Spanish government has acted unilaterally, and the majority which we have goes beyond the separatist parties. So we have voted in favor of our future. We want to vote on our future. This is not a criminal activity. We want to decide on our future. So if there are other groups that share our point of view, we'll be happy to sign a coalition agreement with them and to govern with them.
muy similar para el bloque independentista. Ustedes interpretaron que tenían un mandato popular para la independencia. Ahora, con un resultado esto muy similar, ustedes lo que hacen es ofrecer diálogo sin condiciones. Me pregunto si hay que concluir que la vía, no la llaman unilateral porque no quiere dar usted ese calificativo, pero la vía iniciada el 6 y el 7 de septiembre, si esa vía está aparcada, si no está sobre la mesa.
No, fíjese, en 2015 llegamos al 47,5%
In 2015, we won 47% of the vote. At this time, we have obtained 4 points more. So today, there is continuity. There's continuity of support. And the bloc in favor of the Spanish government cannot compete with this. So we are legitimate. We have proclaimed the Republic. We have a mandate which was initially voted in favor of on the 1st of October, and it has been confirmed by yesterday's vote was the second round of the October referendum. And the Spanish government cannot say that the voters were not able to participate to express their views. So the result of the election is there are more voters in favor of independence compared with the first round, the referendum in October. So yesterday's vote ratified the referendum. I wish to insist on something else. Listen to the three conferences I gave in Madrid. Read the articles that are published in the press abroad and in Madrid. We favor dialogue. What has happened? We are against unilateralism. And it's now up to the Spanish government to renounce unilateralism. The Spanish government must respect the rules of the game and dialogue. This will prevent more problems in the future.
To be clear for the Spanish press, I'm Carmen Pong for the international press, Carmen Pong from Politico. So what is the next step? And are you said that obviously there's legitimacy to the independence now with this vote. What does this actually mean very clearly? Are you going to continue to say Catalonia is an independent?
What will be your next step?
What exactly is going to happen next?
Well, Catalonia wants to be an independent state.
Do you want
it is the wish of the Catalan people. But the next step immediately is to talk with Mariano Rajoy, with President Mariano Rajoy. I think because the recipe of Mariano Rajoy doesn't work. It doesn't work. So we need to found new ways, the political solution for our crisis between the Spanish state and Catalonia. We are only a duty with the people to serve the mandate of the ballot boxes. And it is clear, despite all the efforts come from the Spanish state, the violence, the repression, despite this, we are stronger than ever.
Are you thinking about Catalonia in Spain? Is that also an option?
Sorry?
Is there an option that Catalonia continues to be part of Spain as part of the dialogue?
Well, if results a referendum, if we find an agreement in order to celebrate, to hold a referendum about this question, and the results of this referendum will be the same as you said, of course we need to respect. But what about if the result is another? Is the Spain state disposal to accept the results if the majority of Catalan people say yes to independence?
Do you really think that you're closer to independence?
Yes, of course. If you look, the figures come from the 9th of November of 2014, then in 27 September 2015, the 1st of October, and the election of yesterday, you will see the figures are increasing every consultation.
But what is the difference?
What is the difference? Well, the difference is now the results are come from election organized by the Spanish state with its guarantees, with the rules, So with no discussion, with the participation of all the citizens, that is the main difference between the mantra of 1st of October from the Spanish state. There's a very huge, big difference. Sorry,
we don't hear you.
Yeah.
I'm from The Guardian. The three pro-independence parties did not quite win 48% of the vote, so you don't have a majority. So what is your mandate for independence, and how are you going to build bridges with the majority who voted for the
Well, if you look, the parties from partisans for a referendum and agreement for a referendum, we are more than 50%. That's mean this.
What in percentage terms?
I don't know exactly where.
Is in favor of the referendum? 80%?
No, in les eleccions d'ahir.
Si treus els comuns, no?
No, pujant els comuns. I think it's 57%. So, if we demand a referendum, an agreement for the referendum, it's enough. It's this 57% of the voters. I think the question is not the percentage of the wish of the Catalan people. Is another. Is to recognize Catalonia as a political subject, as a political party that want to talk with equality relationship with the Spanish state.
Ana. Sorry, I'm giving the floor. Ana.
Sí, quería saber los siguientes pasos. ¿Espera una llamada del presidente Rajoy? Y si en ese diálogo que demanda con el presidente va a poner encima de la mesa como condición sine qua non la convocatoria de un referéndum, o si estaría dispuesto a aceptar quizá a otras concesiones políticas. Y luego quería saber si, aprovechando su estancia en Bruselas, va a pedir una reunión con las autoridades españolas.
Bien, he dicho antes que iba a pedir la reunión sin condiciones.
I said earlier
Creo que no es una reunión
that I would like to meet Mr. Rajoy without any preconditions. For the moment, we cannot draw up a negotiating agenda. What is important is that the Spanish government should show its willingness to enter into a political negotiation. There mustn't be any preconditions. We must be able to talk about everything. I'm not going to ask Mr. Rajoy to renounce his ideas, nor should he ask me to renounce my ideas. But the results of the election show that we have had a massive, peaceful vote, and we are capable of solving our divergences peacefully through dialogue. The citizens of Catalonia have voted massively and peacefully, and therefore the politicians should follow this example. Mr. Rajoy has tried everything except bilateral dialogue. He has used violence, seizures, guardianship, imprisonment, but he has never accepted to sit at a table to engage in a dialogue. And to start a dialogue, you need to recognize the opposite party, the other party.
Petite question, donc, si je vais rentrer en Catalogne, comment ferez-vous pour éviter l'arrestation à la frontière? Deuxième question, comme le dialogue avec Mariano Rajoy ça pose comme compliqué, qui serait votre intermédiaire préféré peut-être au niveau politique, au niveau européen peut-être même?
Bon, la première question.
To answer your first question, obviously, if there is respect for the results of the election by the central government, I remind you that it's the Spanish government that called for this election. If it respects the results, it means they will be respecting the will of the Catalan people. If they respect the majority, the new majority in Parliament, what do the majority want? They must show their respect for the new majority by also their democratic commitment. the Spanish state, when it decided to withdraw the European arrest warrant against me, they did so because there was no evidence under European law to arrest a leader of a political party. So they made some very serious accusations, but they must withdraw them now. We must completely change the Rajoy recipe because it doesn't work anymore. I'm not going to lay down any preconditions. I am willing to talk to Mr. Rajoy because he has been responsible for what has happened. He has been responsible for this catastrophe. So he is responsible for what has happened, so I am willing to talk to him. I have never had a problem about talking to him. They have refused our request for a dialogue.
I'm sorry, sir. Give me the floor. Take your turn, please. Guillermo.
Me gustaría preguntarle, en las preguntas que le han hecho si va a volver a Cataluña, repite que solo volverá si tiene garantías. Esas garantías, me gustaría que nos explicara cuáles son y si una de ellas es no ir a la cárcel.
You say that you will be returning to Spain if you are given certain guarantees. What guarantees? The first guarantee is respect for democracy, the respect for the result of the elections, and we're getting the support of the media. The media have not respected our point of view until now. The conditions in which the elections were organized were very poor. We have won the elections. Will the Spanish government respect democracy? And if the Spanish government shows that it is prepared to respect democracy, I will return to Catalonia.
People of Catalonia certainly supported you. You have a majority in the parliament, but power politics does not work like this, and your whole European Union is standing against you, and they have no room for public substance in international politics. What do you say to European Commission, European Union?
Well, the European Commission has supported the Mariano Rajoy receipt. That it's obvious. I don't demand to the European Commission to change its point of view about our situation, but only demands to the European Commission or other European institutions, only demands to listen Catalan people, not only listen the Spanish state. Of course, the European Commission has the right to listen and also to sustain the Spanish position. But I think it's necessary to listen to all the parts in this conflict. I think the Catalan people has the right to be listened to from European Commission. Thank you very much. Bon dia.